And I think more and more people are now saying that Donald Trump is the American Marine Le Pen. He has mobilized the sort of far right and more people are saying fascist element in the American working class. You know, white Americans are angry. They're angry because you can see it, the middle class has been hollowed out in the United States, and they don't really understand why. So Donald Trump tells them it's immigrants, it's Obama's policies, and Bernie Sanders says it's Wall Street. So the two of them, Trump has captured what we call right-wing populism. Bernie's captured a much smaller left-wing populism, and that's why they're doing well. Fortunately, it seems that the majority of people, you know, they appear to be getting about a third of their respective parties, and they get all the attention. But what that really means is the vast majority of Americans are rejecting their points of view. We have no idea. No one has any idea what he would actually do if he got elected. He has positions that are both far right but also left. That's why the establishment Republicans are so afraid of him. If Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, that the majority of Americans will reject the hate-mongering and, frankly, the fascist positions that he is espousing, and that he will lose. You know, it would appear that it's probably matters most to women like myself that are of Hillary's generation, who could never have imagined in our lifetimes that this might be possible. It's pretty clear that to younger women, to whom they owe an enormous debt to us, I think, but it's not clear that it matters much to them. They seem to take for granted what the previous generations of women have done for them. So I think it matters to some voters, but I think the positive story here is that most people who support Hillary support her because of her policies, not because she's a woman. She should be proud of the fact that she is getting support from the elite, but also from the working class. She's brought the classes together on the Democratic side, and she should be so proud of the fact that African Americans and people of color in general so strongly support her, because she's been an advocate for them all of her life. I think it's a wonderful thing for those of us who admire your country, although you have a different government right now, but we admire the democratic socialist policies of the Nordic countries. And you know, Bernie has benefited from this anger that I talked about earlier, and he has caught the enthusiasm of a new generation of young people who are very disturbed about the inequality in the country. I don't think he'll be the nominee. but I think that he has made a terrific contribution to the campaign thus far. Well, you know, the United States has a long history of fairly dirty campaigns for president. So I think most people would say that the Republican primary campaign so far has been the ugliest that we've witnessed. And most people blame that on Trump. He definitely is inclined to say things that are most people consider vulgar. I sincerely hope that if Hillary is the nominee, that she will be able to avoid that sort of thing. Though there are so many outside groups that also participate, some of them may engage in dirty campaigning. It's going to be a very brutal campaign. No matter who is the nominee on either side, it's going to be a very brutal campaign in the fall. He's already attacked her husband. He's attacked her. She has some issues where she's vulnerable. There's no question about it. His tactic is always to go for wherever you have a weakness. But she's pretty good at defending and going on the attack, and he has a lot of weaknesses as well. So, and of course they disagree on almost every issue. So Clinton, of course, will try to stay with policy and issues. Trump will try to go for personal vulnerability, and therefore it's going to be a very brutal campaign. Many people say we're not just one country, we're many small countries in one big country. And so there's a broad range of values. It's true, I'm a professor of labor studies, and we know historically that the working class can be susceptible to demagogic arguments, particularly when they're not doing well. And right now, the working class in the United States is not doing well. Even though unemployment is now back down to a very, very low level, and more jobs created, the job creation in the last couple of years begins to look like it did under Bill Clinton in the 90s. Wages are not increasing. And so people are frustrated. And people are attracted to someone who will blame someone and target their anger. It's really, I think, more a class issue than anything else. And I think Bernie's been successful because he has focused on class. Trump has been successful because he has focused on race and dividing class. So if Hillary is the nominee, she needs to put those pieces back together and make the argument that we need a set of policies that will benefit everyone in the middle and working classes. I simply don't believe that the majority of Americans share the values that any of the Republicans are espousing. The anti-immigrant, pro-gun, low tax, no regulation. I think that the majority of Americans are going to reject that point of view in the fall. I feel quite confident.